But at the end of the day, man, it's about people. It's about treating people right, doing the right thing to the best of your ability. Man, if you don't surround yourself with people better than you, you're not going to go anywhere, man. Treat people like you want to be treated.
You're listening to the Limitless Leadership Podcast, the podcast designed to help automotive repair shops learn how to lead, coach, train, and manage their team better by sharing proven techniques and thought-provoking interviews from industry leaders. Are you ready to transform your leadership skills by tapping into unrecognized potential to achieve limitless results? Let's get ready for liftoff. It's time to go from great to greater. Here's today's episode.
All right, folks, as you know, great leadership isn't about doing everything the best. It's actually about having the right partners in your corner to build your shop's success. It's about putting the right team in place. It's about choosing the right vendors to make you a pro, making pro moves. And when I think about the pros, I think about shop marketing pros. The know, like, and trust factor, that's a real thing. And Shop Marketing Pros understands that. That's why I want to recommend Shop Marketing Pros to become your marketing partner in your shop. They get to know, like, and trust you and your business to then help your audience get to know, like, and trust you too, and bring your shop to the next level. So when I talk about making pro moves, this is the kind of move I'm talking about. This is the kind of standard-setting partnership that's going to elevate your shop. So if you're ready to become a pro in your shop, visit shopmarketingpros.com and partner with the best. All right, everyone, welcome back to the Limitless Leadership Podcast. Before we get started today, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all the things you need to on social media with the Limitless Leadership Podcast to help this podcast reach people and build leaders. Don't forget that you can find this episode among plenty more on YouTube at The Bearded Leader. But speaking of leaders, and also a bearded leader, a bearded friend of mine, our guest today is a shop owner, Kreager Tire and Service. Our guest today is Mr. Dan Thieken. Dan, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, glad to be here. And I just shaved this morning, so it's not...
That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate.
As long as it was.
Well, Dan, man, of course, this is a leadership podcast. I'm going to ask a couple leadership questions later on, and really just going to go kind of off the cuff with you, have a fluid conversation. But before we do that, go ahead and share with the audience who you are, what you do, and how you do it.
Well, my name is Dan Thieken. I own Kreager Tire and Service in Millersport, Ohio, which is just east of Columbus. We kind of do everything. We're like a small rural shop. A matter of fact, as I'm sitting here, I just remembered I have to change some lady's wheelchair tires this week.
You truly are. You do everything. Wheelchair tires, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do them. I don't advertise that.
Yeah, come get your tires done and your wheelchair tires.
But yeah, we've been around for, I think the original owner started in 1984, 85, and I've been around since 96. And we went full service and never really turned back. And it's been a blessing.
How long have you been in the industry?
Since 1996.
96. Okay, so you entered into the industry. Were you the owner back then? Did you inherit this from your parents, or
So it's pretty unique. I started there as a senior. Well, right when I graduated from high school, I started there. I've said this before. I am not a technician. I started there sweeping floors and changing oil. And then that led into tires. I became a tire expert effectively. And I was going to get married. So I went away for 2.5 years, 2 years, 8 months. And while I was away, my mom and Dave, the owner, they were involved. He approached me about buying the place because he said, I've seen a lot of people come and go, and no one's ever taken care of this business, my business, like you do, and I want to sell it to you. And it was a owner finance land contract type of thing. Very, very fortunate, blessed situation, and that's where it happened. So that happened around, I want to say in 2002 or 3 or 4. I forget the exact year that happened.
So you mentioned that Dave came to you and said, hey, no one has ever taken care of this place the way that you have. I'm a big believer in this concept of the way that we do anything is the way the way that we do anything is the way we do everything, which means we're going to do anything and everything with a level of excellence. It's it's almost like a relentless pursuit of perfection. Yeah. What is it about that business and this industry that prompts you to take the kind of action that you do and to exercise the kind of care that you do with your business as well as your guests?
Well, so my philosophy transcends this industry, and it transcends my shop, and it's all about people. Your employees, your clients, your vendors. It's all about relationships. So what Dave was always really good about was making the customer feel good, taking care of them, whatever it was, removing the roadblocks, and that just stuck with me. But at the end of the day, man, it's about people. It's about treating people right, doing the right thing to the best of your ability. And as we mentioned earlier, don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
Your life can be so much better personally and professionally if you just don't be a jerk, and that's a fact.
Dan, what is it about this industry that you and I both love and adore? This industry, incredible people, salt of the earth people in this industry, and I'm not gonna say but, I'll say and there's also a lot of just jaded folks. There's folks who are just it's almost like they've been beaten down time and time again, and we find these folks who are it's almost hard for them to not be a jerk, and it's unfortunate because these are good people, and hurt people. Like, we know that, and I'm not suggesting that they're hurting people, but it's almost hard for them to not be a jerk. And I'm curious, like, from your perspective, why is that? Like, what has happened in the past that has prompted this a slew of folks to respond or maybe react like this?
I think it's pretty simple. I think it's people overthink it, number one. But at the end of the day, outside, and I'm not a doctor by any means, outside of a mental health concern or something like that, everyone's persona and how they treat other people, bottom line, comes back to somewhere in their past, someone treated them like a jerk. They were mistreated, whether it been a owner, a manager, a service advisor. They were mistreated, and it's happened repeatedly.
Hey folks, running an auto repair shop, it's tough. We know that. And between managing repairs, keeping customers happy, and handling front office tasks, there's never enough time in the day. That's where Hub Shop Solutions comes in. Hub takes the burden off your team by building fast, accurate repair estimates and handling extended warranties, so you can focus on what really matters, running a profitable, efficient shop. With Hub, you free up your team, you boost efficiency, and you increase profits. So sign up now and get free onboarding. Visit hubshopsolutions.com to schedule a demo today. Hub Shop Solutions. Unlock your shop's full potential.
For whatever reason, they didn't stand up for themselves. They couldn't find a different place to work, and those history repeats itself. So it's a learned behavior. You've burned me so many times. I'm just going to harden up. I'm going to put up a wall, and I'm going to be difficult to employ. I'm going to be a jerk to everyone else. And it just goes back to not being a jerk. And they've experienced rough times, and it just transpires into the future.
So as a business owner who recognizes, acknowledges, and understands the importance of people and how it does begin with people, even my own slogan is people plus process equal profit. It starts with people, because we know that connection is what creates engagement, and engagement is ultimately what increases performance, but it starts with people. So as a business owner, when you're adding to your team, when you're hiring your next team member, what kind of questions are you asking that will help you identify whether this person is going to be a jerk or not?
Well, the problem you have is you can ask all the questions you want, and people can misrepresent the truth.
We get our best, like we get their best at the interview process, don't we?
Yeah, right. So it's all about asking questions about the team. Hey, if we bring you on at whether if a shop pays flat rate, which we don't, but if we bring you on an hourly hybrid system and you're getting paid for some of the hours you bill, we are a team. So are you willing to go over and help so-and-so get through a tough diagnostic thing, or do something that help them do something they've never done? That's the big one for me. It's about team. And as I said before, I am not a technician. I've never been a car person, but I will say this, and I forget which famous business person said it or something, maybe Zig Ziglar, but man, if you don't surround yourself with people better than you, you're not going to go anywhere. So I've relied on that a lot. I would be nowhere without having good people around me the entire time.
I love that. I know Steve Jobs was actually famous for he's famous for a lot of things, but one of his famous quotes that still sticks with me is at Apple, he would say, we don't hire people to tell them what to do. We hire them to tell us what to do, because he understands the concept of hiring people who are smarter or more capable or better at certain areas or stronger in areas that we're maybe weak in. I'll ask you, knowing how much of a people guy you are, and understand the importance of people and what the role they play in your culture. What about your shop sets you apart from others in regards to the culture? Like if I'm a prospective team member of Kreager Tire and Service, what could I expect at your shop that I might not be getting at others?
I just asked this question to 2 or 3 of my team members in preparation to write a new job ad. And I said, tell me what it is about this place that would be appealing. And the resounding answer was, it's a team. No one puts themselves above the other person. No one thinks they're better than somebody. Obviously paid training opportunities and things like that. But man, it's just about, we're no stress. I mean, we get busy, and don't get me wrong, we have deadlines and things like that. And everyone experiences part issues, or things just don't go the way they're supposed to go. But man, we have a stress-free environment. Mm-hmm. We really do.
That's good.
I'm not the guy that cracks a whip hard. And actually, I'm in the process of stepping back. I hired a new site manager who's my best friend and has been in this business for 40 years. And I said, tell me what you need, and I'll just leave. And we're waiting on that day. It's
okay.
It's just a few weeks away where I can take a lot more time away from the shop and then work on the business outside. But it's culture. It's stress-free. It's stress-free, and we're a team. And I don't know if that sets us apart. It's so hard to answer that question, what sets us apart.
Culture for a lot of folks, I do believe it's a tangible thing. However, it starts with the intangibles, and I think when someone were to go to your shop and actually walk in your shop and experience, or it's the experience that they have in your shop, right? And they see the communication and the conversations that are happening across the team, it's probably felt. But you glazed over something that I want to make sure that we're highlighting, because you said, well, obviously paid training opportunities, and then you kept on going, as if that's a norm for somebody. And I want to make sure that you, like, I'm encouraging you, Dan, because I wish more shops would understand the importance of training opportunities and actually provide it for their team members. I guarantee you that no stress in the shop is virtually unheard of, especially in this industry. It's a grind. I mean, the work that these, and I'm not even gonna say that we do, because you guys know, if you're listening, I'm a leadership coach. I'm not often in a shop. I'm regularly on the other side of a Zoom screen with folks who I'm working with. Granted, I've been in the industry for a long time, been in a lot of shops, but you guys work a grinding schedule, and it can feel thankless at times. We're often used to having someone point out what we're not doing versus what we're doing, or maybe it's reprimanding versus recognizing. And there's so many opportunities for us as leaders to show up for our team member, to provide a stress-free environment. That's huge. I mean, like, I want to ask you, how are you able to do that as a business owner?
Well, I don't worry about anything. And before I get to that, I'll say stress is a relative term, right? I think a lot of shop owners and even technicians and service advisors, sometimes they get confused. They think just because we have a really busy, grueling day, grinding it out, that's stress. And it may be stressful on some level, but man, I'm here to tell you that's just a job. And I grew up, work ethic, and that's just a job. Stress is something different in my mind. But as far as what was your question? How do I keep people motivated?
Yeah, well, specifically, like, how have you been able to create this stress-free environment? And you're right, stress is relative, but you also led by saying, "Hey, I don't really worry about anything." And so I do want to ask you, for the person who's listening to this saying, "I worry about everything. I mean, I can't not worry." What do you do? Like, I'm pointing to my head here. If you're listening to this episode, go to the YouTube at The Beard Leader, watch this episode, and I'm pointing to my head when I say, Dan, speak to the listening audience who struggles with worrying and doubt and concern and fear.
So a perfect example, and I just vomited this story to Mike and Brian on Confessions of Leadership.
Yeah, great episode, by the way.
And I'm not going to repeat everything on there. But I found myself recently upside down, a huge staff turnover, completely unexpected. And it just went south real quick to a point. There was 1 week that I was working in the shop with my tire tech. Just two of us. And we are a busy shop. And in the same time, I was trying to recruit my new manager and get replacements, right? I didn't lose sleep. Over it. But I'm wired different. I mean, the only time I really stress out if like finances get kind of shady, right? That's a stressor for me. Because the buck stops with the owner.
Sure.
I used to go to a job and get a paycheck, and I didn't have to worry because there was a paycheck. Well, I'm the one that writes the checks, right? So that's a whole different level of professional stress, I guess, if you want to look at it. When the buck stops with you, that's concerning. But just the other day, we had my tire tech who's been with me for 5 years. And when I say tire tech, he's just a workhorse. He does all the tires, most of the tires, alignments, and he'll do whatever I ask him. He backed out a car, or didn't back out a car. He went to back a customer's car out of the parking lot to pull it in and work on it. And he took out the side of another customer's car. And actually, I was in the restroom when it happened, so I didn't witness it. And I come up to it, and he's all freaking out. I'm like, dude, it's just a car. We'll fix it.
Yeah.
Even if I, because I just got the estimate to fix it, and it's not a bunch of money. It's like $3,500, and it's right at that threshold. Do I want to claim it on the insurance and open that Pandora's box, or just write the check for it? But I'm like, dude, it's just a car. I'm not going to fire you over this. Just be careful. And I mean, I was upset that it happened, and I cared that it happened, but I didn't care that it happened. You know what I mean?
Dan, I believe that not every day is going to be a good day, but we can still find the good in every day. And if I'm your team member who hit another car like that, expecting some repercussions and just expecting to get yelled at or whatever, and you respond that way, man, that truly would make my day. And it's ironic to say that. It's kind of funny to say that, because this is definitely a challenging situation. I mean, we don't want to experience that, but the way that you responded instead of reacted, that is strong leadership skills, man. Like, that is like, emotional regulation is one of the greatest skill sets any of us can possess. And if my leader has the ability to regulate their emotions, to compartmentalize so that they're not stressed, therefore I'm not stressed. I mean, at work, so my wife is a licensed professional counselor. She's great at this. Even as a leadership coach, this is what I do as a career, and I struggle with this. And so I do practice what I preach, or at least I try to. She's great at this, but at work, it can be incredibly beneficial for your leader to do that. But even at home, it's like, I mean, life is better when you have someone who can help you through the challenges because of their ability to regulate their own emotions.
Yeah, and it's funny because although that wasn't a big deal, I mean, it was a big. I want to say that carefully. Yeah. It was a big deal, but to me, it was just a thing. We'll get through it. It's not a problem. Yep. And that same guy could do an oil change and forget to reset an oil monitor reminder.
A little different.
Whole different leader right here.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah. Well, but that's understandable because this is one of those things where you're doing this every day, or not. I mean, you're maybe not doing that particular repair every day, but still, you're doing something so often that's probably just carelessness or careless, as opposed to, I mean, well, I don't know. I'm kind of verbally processing this. I think both were probably careless, but out of curiosity, like why would you show up differently in that scenario?
Because the hitting the car is just an accident, right? It had nothing to do with the repair or the service that the customer came in for. So if a client comes in and they get their oil change and their tires rotated or whatever the case is, and you don't reset an oil reminder, which is, I'm sorry, a huge big pet peeve for many drivers. And it's so basic. So after having countless conversations, and I'm not going to write, I'm not the guy that's going to write someone up for not resetting an oil light or whatever. But it's like, dude, just reset the light. Well, it wasn't on. I don't care. There's a process. Do it.
That's right. It's a process.
So that's it. That's the difference, in my opinion, with that particular example.
Well, so we talked about skill sets that you possess, great skill sets that you possess that help really speak to the level of leadership that you are, the leader that you are. If I were to ask you, Dan, in your own words, what does leadership mean to you? How would you answer that question?
I've been thinking about this since you asked me that yesterday. Loyalty, leadership to me breeds loyalty. If you're a good leader, your crew are going to be loyal. They're going to do whatever you ask them. You don't have to ask them to do a lot because they know what to do. And they just like they follow you into battle, right?
Yeah.
They trust you almost with every aspect of their life. And I have up until recently, I would pride myself on the type of employee retention that we have. I mean, we all know in this industry, employee retention, it's low.
It's tough. Yep.
My veteran guy right now has been with me 14 years. My tire guy has been with me for 5. And prior to that, my previous crew, my assistant manager and my lead tech was with me for 13 when he tragically passed away. I mean, I retain people 5, 6, 7 years plus on a regular basis. And I can probably in 20 years of ownership, I don't think I've had a dozen employees, give or take.
That's amazing. In this industry, the last time I checked, and I was looking at service manager numbers, and this was about a year ago, but the last time I checked, in terms of service manager retention, the average service manager lasts a little over 2 years at a shop. And what we know is that it costs business owners or shop owners 6 to 9 months of a team member's salary to replace them. So if you're paying a service manager, let's just for simple math purposes, $100,000 a year, 6 to 9 months. I mean, we're talking $50,000 to $75,000 just to replace them, and that's just the financial ramifications. So we're not talking about the stress that you won't have, but other people will have, the stress and the sleepless nights and the interviewing and the recruiting and all the stuff that comes with it, the training, the onboarding. So it's pivotal that you are creating a culture in a way that's prompting your team members to want to stay there. One of my favorite quotes comes from Richard Branson, founder of Virgin Records, and he says, "Train people well enough so they can leave, treat them well enough so they don't want to." And when you share that loyalty is really the backbone of what leadership means to you, that's a quote that comes to mind. You treat them well enough so they don't want to. They are going to battle with you. When you say jump, they say how high.
Yeah, and I'm doing the math on my head. It could be more like 15 or 16 employees, but it's not a lot compared to the years in service. I just had a thought, and you may be thinking you're doing a great job. And you may be leading the team well. I'm not naive. I know there are better places to work than my shop. I mean, there are. I mean, there's always somebody better than you, right? But they're hard to find.
They are.
And people may have to drive to get to them.
Yeah, you're right. Well, and I think I appreciate the humility that you're sharing. There are people and companies who do certain things better than us, but as a whole, there's so much that we do as well that is just, it can't be duplicated. It can't be replicated. And ultimately, like I truly believe in this concept of people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And you as a business owner have the opportunity and the ability to show up for your team in a way where you personally cannot be duplicated. And so, the benefits and the perks and the culture pieces that come with it, that's all great. But when Dan Thieken is my boss and he is leading me and showing up for me in a certain kind of way, I mean, why would I want to work for anybody else? There are certain companies that might offer better fill in the blank. It could be pay, it could be perks, whatever, benefits. But Dan Thieken isn't there. I'll ask you, Dan, best advice you've ever received from a coach or a mentor, what would you say?
Never used a coach. Don't really have a mentor. So I would say Jesus, man. Treat people like you want to be treated.
Preach.
I mean, and that's not, I'm not trying to be cliche or go all biblical on you, but we all hear advice like, make sure your matrices are where they need to be, or control your labor expenses and overtime and shop supplies, but that's all fluff, right?
Yeah.
It's treat people like you want to be treated. Treat people like you treat your grandma and your grandpa.
It's interesting. My wife and I were having this exact discussion with our kids just a few days ago, and even in the Bible, love your neighbor as yourself. I think it's Galatians 5:3. I don't know why I'm trying to quote scripture, because I'm not that biblically based or sound, rather, but I think it's Galatians 5:3. Treat people the way you want to be treated, or love your neighbor as yourself, rather. And it's so true. I mean, it costs 0 cents, $0 to be kind. And in this industry, especially this industry, an industry that lacks trust, that lacks this level of positivity that we know it deserves, treat people the way that you want to be treated. And I would agree with you. I think Jesus is the greatest leader of all time. So Dan, don't be a jerk. That's your philosophy. That's your basic philosophy in a nutshell. Any parting words of wisdom for the audience in relation to just how to stop being a jerk?
When you're dealing with someone, mentally put yourself over in their lap and listen to what you're saying. Think about the words that are coming out of your mouth. Be empathetic with their situation, because nobody knows what that other person you're talking to is going through. They have no idea. You have no idea. Just be mindful. And I fall short of this every day. And my best friend, who I just hired to run the shop, he is exponentially more professional than I could ever dream of being. And he is amazed at the community culture that we have in our small town, and how I can talk to my clients and harass them and give them a hard time, and just be really mindful of the words that come out of the mouth, because sometimes I'm not, and sometimes I can come across as being a jerk. And
again, I mean, you're exuding a level of humility that helps you connect with anyone that you're working with or serving. And I know that you're not just making an impact at your shop. You even alluded to this. You're making an impact in your community. People know who you are because of the way that you're showing up and the impact that you're making. On the next time you're on this show, because this won't be the last time, the next time you're on the show, you're going to have some time with your friend that you just hired. I'm probably going to ask, what advice can you give to someone who just hired their friend? Because we know it can be challenging, and I know you're going to do just fine with it. But I am curious to see what you learn, how things go, how things grow, and I think overall, man, I just appreciate you for being here.
I appreciate you having me, and that next time will be fun, because I learned a lot in this industry when I worked with him for 1 year when I first met him.
Okay.
And we're both alphas, and that's why we're trying to get me out, because it will become a problem. So we'll talk more about that.
Well, good. Well, hopefully we'll talk. So will you be at the ASTA Expo this year?
Yeah, I had to duck out of tools, but
I noticed.
That was in the middle of all the employee chaos, right?
I understand.
I'm scheduled to be at ASTA. So
excellent.
Up there.
Well, let's plan on having you on a recording there live in person at the Expo. And if you're listening, wondering about the ASTA Expo, I'm sure a lot of you are already aware of it, but if not, it's at the Raleigh Convention Center this September 25th through the 27th. Come and hang out, come meet Dan, and come see us. And I promise you're going to really enjoy the time spent. It's very, very much well worth it. All right, Mr. Thieken, thanks again for being here, man. This won't be your last time.
Appreciate you having me, Josh.
And thank you, everyone, for being here. As you know, we're always looking to transform our leadership skills by tapping into unrecognized potential to achieve limitless results. So thanks for being here again. Have a great day, everyone. Don't forget to smile today. Tell your loved ones how much they mean to you. I'm Josh Parnell, reminding you to keep leading well.